Hi, everybody. My name is Morgan Duffy-Simpson. I'm excited to be here with you all today. I work for Mission West Virginia. We are a nonprofit out of Hurricane, West Virginia, and we have a lot of different programs, teen pregnancy prevention, recruiting foster families. We have mentors for students in the foster care system in high schools. And we just have a large staff who is very passionate about their work. I work for our Think program. I'm the youth support advocate here at Mission, and I love my job. Essentially, me and my supervisor, we go around and meet with high school and middle school students one-on-one. Um, and we just talk with them about any life stressor that they're going through, uh, being a trusted adult, a safe adult for them to talk to. And so my bachelor's and master's degree is in social work. I'm very passionate about social work. It's a huge reason why I want to present on the topic that we're talking about today, burnout prevention with helping professionals. So, I'm also a licensed social worker in the state of West Virginia. So that's just a little bit about me. I will go ahead and share my screen. All right. Yeah, so we are talking about burnout prevention today. Also could be self-care, a little bit of both. So we can go ahead and hop into today. I always like to start out with an arriving activity for us. I think, part of self-care can be breath work for a lot of us. Part of it is just realizing when our bodies need to take a break and take a second to just breathe. And so for many of us, maybe we need to take a break from all the busyness of being a helping professional, running all the time, running everywhere. So, if you guys would do this activity with me, I'll lead us in a little bit of breath work. So, I'm going to go ahead and sit back in the chair that I'm in. You guys feel free to do the same. Uh, I am gonna close my eyes. You all feel free to close your eyes. If you're not in a space where you feel comfortable doing that, that is totally fine. Maybe just stare at something in front of you. You could stare at the ground. Just fix your gaze upon something that's still in front of you. So as we begin, I just want us to get comfortable in our seat where we are. And just start out by taking a couple breaths. As we get settled into this space, just allow your hands to fall where they're comfortable. It might be on your chair, it might be on your legs. Allow your feet to feel the ground beneath you, the earth beneath you. Continue to breathe. Be sure you're breathing from your stomach, not your chest. Belly breath for us is going to help relax the whole body. So, as we are starting out with this exercise today, I want us to all go to a place in our mind. It could be made up for some of us. Um, Maybe it's a real place that we love to visit, we love to be in. But just think of a place that is calming for you, that is safe for you. For me, it is outdoors in nature. Maybe for some of you guys, it's at the beach. Maybe for some of you, it is just in your living room with a cup of coffee, and that is your sweet place. And as you're thinking of this place in your mind, Slowly start to notice all of your surroundings. For me, in the meta that I'm in, I can feel the tall grass around me. I can smell the wildflowers. I can feel the gusts of wind. I can hear the trees rustling in the wind. Just really engage your five senses into whatever headspace you're in right now. Maybe for anyone at the beach, maybe you can feel the sand around you. You can feel the waves at your feet. Anyone who's in their living room, you can smell your coffee, feel the warm steam on your face. Just continue breathing, taking in all the senses. And as we sit in this space, I want us to start becoming aware of our body and just become aware of maybe the tension that we're feeling in some of the areas of our body. We're going to start with our head and work our whole way down our body, just relaxing. So let's start with our head. Maybe move around your neck a little bit. Move from shoulder to shoulder. Continuing to breathe. Relaxing your jaw. That can definitely be an area where a lot of us hold a lot of tension. Relaxing the tongue in your mouth. If your eyes are open, making sure your gaze is relaxed. Making sure your forehead is relaxed. And just take another breath. Maybe a few more neck rolls. Leaning your neck to the right and then to the left. Good. And now maybe just bring some attention to your shoulders. Maybe roll them out a little bit. Roll them back and then roll them forward. Maybe for some of us, we want to massage our shoulders with our hands. Maybe just give yourself a hug and start to notice your arms, bringing attention to them. And as you're bringing attention to your arms and maybe just massaging your arms, I want us to just bring some gratitude towards our arms today, thanking them for helping us hug other people, helping us hold our kids, helping us make dinner, exercise, all of our tasks throughout the day. And then maybe bring attention to your hands, your wrists, roll them out a little bit. Good. Now noticing your torso, maybe bringing one hand to your stomach, one hand to your chest. Continuing to breathe. And continue to breathe deeply. Make sure you can feel your belly rising and falling. Notice your chest. If you feel any tightness in your chest, try to bring your breath to those areas of tension. And start to notice your hips. Some of us may hold a lot of tension in our hips. Breathe into those areas. And then notice your legs. Release any tension that you may have in your legs. For some people, it's comforting to just rub your hands on the tops of your thighs as a little massage and just start to thank your body and your legs for all that they do for you throughout the day. Thank them for getting you places, walking back and forth, giving you strength throughout each and every day. And bring attention to your calves, maybe just positioning your feet to where they can really relax. Maybe you want to roll out your ankles a little bit with your feet, releasing any tension that we may have there. Maybe wiggle your toes a little bit. And then bring your feet back to centering themselves on the ground. Continuing to take a few more deep breaths. And let's come back to the safe place in our mind, the place where we're comforted, and engage your senses one more time. Feeling the grass, feeling the sand, feeling the waves, the ground beneath you. And start to do what you need to do to say goodbye to that space, knowing that you can come back to it at any time, at any moment that you need to. Take one more deep breath and slowly open your eyes. If they have been closed, flutter your eyes open to see the light around you. If your eyes have been open, maybe just looking around, bringing focus back to the screen or wherever you're watching today. Thank you guys for participating in that with me. Um, I love doing that and I love starting out time that way. I think can be really helpful for us to take a moment as helping professionals, as people who are constantly taking care of other people. We can take time for ourselves in that moment, and we can know, okay, I can take a step back for myself. I can sit here and take a few moments to breathe, and everyone is going to be okay, and I can know that. So, as we move on, we are talking about burnout prevention today. Obviously, our little exercise of what we just did, it can be a tool for self-care for us. And obviously, breath work and guided imagery can be really helpful and amazing. But at the same time, that's not going to be everything that prevents us from burnout, right? So there has to be other things along with it. So let's go ahead and look at our agenda today. Um, we're going to look at what burnout feels like in our bodies. We are going to look at why burnout is so common amongst helping professionals, specifically social workers, counselors, psychologists, anyone essentially that works with people who have been through trauma. And so, we are also going to look at what can we do when burnout occurs in our life? How can we find rest? How can we actually um, help ourselves slow down in the midst of everything that's going on around us? So let's keep going. I love, 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 love this graphic because I think it is a really great opportunity for us to really start understand what burnout is for us. It's not just stress. And I think when we start to realize that it's not just stress, but it's when we feel stressed and we don't have enough coping skills to handle that stress. And so when we are trying to deal with burnout and maybe we have already exhausted all of the coping skills that we have in our tool belt, um, that's when we're really going to start to feel it. We're going to start to feel the demands weighing even heavier than they normally do. I also love if you guys see the little person, the little body that's kind of at the top middle of the graphic. Obviously, burnout affects our body and not just our brain. I'm sure a lot of us know that, but we're going to look at a few of the symptoms that we may feel physically when burnout occurs for us. So, what does burnout feel like? It feels like all these three things on the screen. So, first, emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion can feel like so many different things. It can feel like physical exhaustion, but also it can be maybe just coming home and not having any more empathy left for our family, our partners. Maybe we have exhausted our empathetic capacity for the day. And maybe that's how emotional exhaustion shows up in our lives. Maybe for some of us, we feel like we can never give the client, we can never give ourselves fully to the client because we just feel so exhausted. So emotional exhaustion really can make itself present. Depersonalization of clients, we really may start to see clients as an object rather than a person, a human with a heart and a soul, and someone who is struggling. Um, Instead of seeing a person for that, we may see them as a task to complete, another box to check off of our list for the day. And so when people start to look like a task rather than a human, that can be a good sign that someone may be experiencing burnout. And then lastly, reduced feelings of accomplishment. This can definitely be a huge one. Not feeling like your work is very important, not feeling like your work is making a difference in the lives of your clients. Um, Even if someone puts a bunch of statistics in front of you of look at how well we've done this year, look at how many students you've helped this year, all you can think about is, yeah, but this. Yeah, but what about this client who is not doing well? And so we really see a reduction in those feelings of I've helped people, which is probably why a lot of us is in a helping profession, because we obviously want to help people. We want to feel purpose in our jobs. And so when that starts to decline along with we're exhausted and maybe we don't empathize with clients like we did in the beginning of our practice, then it starts to weigh on us. So, how burnout may feel physically in our bodies for some of us, we may feel tired. So, not just emotionally, but physically can be so exhausting. Headaches or body aches, really just any aching in our bodies. Sleeping more often. This also could look like sleeping less often. Um, sleeping less often because someone may be really anxious, especially if maybe work has become more of a task for you. We may just not want to go to work the next day, um, or maybe are just dreading it. Maybe we're sleeping more often because of that emotional exhaustion and physical exhaustion. Feeling trapped. So this can be obviously a mental barrier, but I think also we can sometimes experience this physically. So maybe having those feelings of being claustrophobic, of feeling like you're in a box, um, feeling like you can't move from a certain environment or maybe a room that you're in. Also, it could be, like I said earlier, a mental block, where maybe you feel very much trapped in maybe a profession or the stage of life, or you feel like you're going to be burnt out for forever. And this is just kind of your future, per se. Also, increased or decreased appetite. That kind of goes back to sleeping more or less. Someone may eat more or less depending on wanting comfort, being a stress reliever, or due to anxiety. Isolating from other people, even if we love them and want to be with them, um, isolating from people either because of exhaustion, maybe because of experiencing depression alongside burnout, maybe due to the exhaustion from burnout, we start just wanting to spend time alone by ourselves. Irritability, maybe frustration, loss of motivation, or just really low motivation. And also, one more thing that I will say about, these physical symptoms, especially with motivation, maybe we start to see not only a loss of motivation in our jobs, but maybe we also start to see low motivation in our personal lives. Um, like coming home and not be motivated to play with your kids or be with your partner. Or maybe if you're part of an extracurricular thing in your life, maybe you don't want to go to those meetings or that extracurricular activity because you don't have that motivation for it. So we're not only looking at low motivation in our jobs, but also at any other area in our life. So why are we even talking about burnout in general? This may seem a little bit self-explanatory for some of us helping professionals, but I think it can be helpful to go back over it. So we work with traumatized individuals. We work with people who have been through so much in their lives. And when they are telling us everything that they've been through, that can obviously give us secondary trauma. We can experience secondhand stress, vicarious trauma through those interactions, just through being empathetic and taking on the emotions of our clients. So that can definitely lead to burnout. When we deal with stressful work, again, it's not just the stressful work that can lead to burnout, but not having the coping skills to do so. We don't always see the best outcomes. I think this is a huge one. We sometimes will see relapse. We will sometimes not see families reunified. Maybe some of our clients, it just takes a really long time for them to be able to develop coping skills or understand coping skills, maybe to understand a certain therapeutic modality and actually work with you to try to work on things in their life. Um, Sometimes we don't see the outcomes that we want or that our clients want for themselves. And so that can be really discouraging, really frustrating, and really disheartening for us in our profession. The system is also completely overloaded. We don't have enough workers. We obviously need more mental health professionals in the field. But due to the fact that we don't have enough currently, obviously a lot of us are overloaded. We're asking continuously to take on more clients. Or maybe there's a lot of paperwork. Um, Maybe some of you all work nights. Maybe some of you all work weekends or are on call. And that also leads to the stress and just being overloaded with work. Many workers also do not allow themselves breaks. Um, Many people I have found who work in the helping professional field, um, Many of us get into this field because we want to help people, which is amazing and wonderful. Obviously, it's called helping professions. But at the same time, I think many people who have that gift, their weakness can be not allowing themselves to take breaks, because they want to help others. They want to be go, go, go. And so I think with this last bullet point is really where we can make a difference. Maybe in all these other bullet points, maybe we can't make a change for ourselves, but that last bullet point, we can change that for ourselves. And we'll talk about that later. So, psychologist burnout statistics, we're going to fly through some of these, but I think it's really important to look at statistics for us to know, okay, this is true. These are all recent statistics within the last 2 to 4 years. And, this is still happening. It's not like burnout was a thing that happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It is still happening. And we unfortunately have people in the field who are still struggling with burnout. So, again, another reason why we're talking about it today. So, in a survey in September 2022, 38% of US licensed psychologists reported that they were working more than they did before the pandemic. Here's this piece of the demand being huge. And then, a percentage of psychologists who reported not being able to meet the demand rose from 30% in 2020 to 41% to 46%. And then almost half, 45% reported feeling burned out in 2022, with similar levels the past 2 years. Social worker burnout statistics. So one study has shown of about 751 respondents, 36 scored high in emotional exhaustion. Again, it's not just that leads to burnout, but emotional exhaustion is a component of burnout. So obviously that is something to be wary of. One study finds a 75% lifetime burnout rate for social workers. This statistic specifically is really sad for me, just social work being my specific field. Um, I really want to see that number go down, and I believe it can. We, it's possible, and we can be working on burnout prevention. Mental health workers. So, for anyone who's not a social worker or psychologist, but definitely is in the mental health field working with traumatized individuals. These are for you. Several studies show that 21 to 67% of mental health workers may be experiencing high levels of burnout. In a study of about 151 community health workers, 54% had high emotional exhaustion and 38% reported high depersonalization rates. Again, two symptoms of burnout. Another study shows after a year, about 40% of workers remain in the same stage of burnout, about 30% become more burned out, and about another 30% become less burned out. Um, we want those numbers to drop. We want to see those numbers of less burned out be a bigger percentage, right? And then I definitely wanted to put a slide in here for anyone who is in the general workforce. For anyone who may be attending this webinar that does not work in a helping professionals field, burnout obviously can definitely happen in any job. And so I wanted to bring attention to that. I didn't want to ignore other professions that may be coming into this webinar. So these statistics are for you. In 2020, American workers across the board saw heightened rates of burnout in 2021. Of about 1,500 US adult workers, 79% of employees had experienced work-related stress. Again, stress does not lead to burnout, but if they do not have the coping skills, then it leads to burnout. Nearly 3 in 5 employees reported negative impacts of work-related stress, including lack of interest, lack of motivation, lack of energy. Again, symptoms of burnout. 36% reported cognitive weariness, 32% emotional exhaustion, and 44% physical fatigue, a 38 increase since 2019. Okay, so what are we doing now? Obviously, we all know about burnout. We all know that we work with traumatized people. So, how can we continue this work sustainably? And I think that is really at the heart of what today is. So, we're talking about rest, recharging, reevaluating, retreating, and reframing. So, these are five areas that we can look at where we could maybe potentially change things around in our life that might be helpful for us to avoid burnout. And not only can we prevent it, but hopefully we can intervene if any of us are burned out. And I hope that there aren't many people on the other side where it's like, I've already been burned out for a long time. I'm not in the field anymore. But if anyone is at that point, maybe if you want to use some of these skills today, maybe you'll find yourself back in the field if that's what you want. So, this is hopefully for all areas of work and in people's careers. So resting. Um, Resting is just an area where we can completely slow down. Um, this is really meaningful. You want to allow yourself to really be in the moment and not have your mind like racing in all these other places. So, rest, this looks like doing anything to slow yourself down. Many people might think of sleeping or napping or something to that extent. But really, it's anything that is good for you. So for you, if slowing down looks like reading a book, that's amazing and that's wonderful. If slowing down for you looks like going to a coffee shop and just being, maybe slowing down for you looks like watching a movie, um, playing video games, whatever you like to do that. I'm going to say this probably a lot today, but it's very important, I would say, to take your time with all of these things, but not only that, do what you want to do. It's going to be different for every single person. And so find what your niche is in these areas, um, and allow yourself to be in the enjoyment of it. For an example, if we are trying to enjoy a movie, and in our mind, the whole time, we're like, okay, well, I have to make a grocery list and I have to clean the house and I have to do laundry and I have to run my kids to this birthday party this weekend. We're not actually sitting there enjoying the movie, basking in our rest. We are letting our mind go on all these other things. And so if we're allowing our body to rest, but if we are not allowing our mind to rest at the same time, we probably are not going to walk away from that movie saying, well, I feel so much better. I just allowed myself to rest for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, we're probably still going to feel tired walking away from that. So allow your whole being to rest. Rest is holistic. I think that is a very important thing to walk away with is it's not just one aspect of our body. It is spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, all areas of our body. Recharging. So recharging really looks like filling up your cup when it has been poured out. Again, looks different for every person, but really, these things may be, um, getting some things together to help you feel better later in the week. So, or maybe just doing things that you know you need to do to help you feel better later on. Let's break that down a little bit and talk about it. For some of us, maybe we know we need to exercise to be able to feel better mentally and physically throughout the week. Obviously, there's been a lot of research linking exercising to better mental health. So maybe we know, okay, if I exercise 2 days this week, 3 days, 4 days, however many days you exercise, um, if I put time aside to do these things, then I know I'm going to be in a better mental health state for the rest of the week. Um, Similar with maybe grocery shopping. Maybe you're like, if I go grocery shopping at the beginning of the week, I'm going to feel so much better throughout the rest of the week. And if you don't, maybe you feel really frazzled going throughout the week. Maybe some of you guys feel the need to clean. Um, Maybe every night after dinner, maybe you have to wipe down the counters, and then waking up the next morning, you feel a lot better just going throughout your day. I think everyone kind of has those things in their routines, in their schedules that they like to plan for, that they just feel better about themselves. They might feel better about their house, when they sit down for work. And so allow yourself time to recharge and to let your body feel recharged, even by doing the little things that you know you need to do. Um, Maybe that looks like the office space that you're in. Maybe it looks like just making sure your desk is clean at the end of the day so that when you come in the next day, it's clean, ready to go, ready to move forward. Recharging can also look like, if you are extroverted and you've been alone a lot of the week, a lot of your work week, then maybe you need to get together with a friend, or maybe you need to get together with family, and that's how you feel recharged and kind of like ready to go for the week. If you're introverted, obviously that's going to kind of be the opposite. If you've been around people a lot that week, then maybe you just need to step back, spend time alone by yourself, and that's going to help you recharge. Do what makes you feel most like yourself. Don't recharge in a way that helps another person. Um, I think one of the best things about burnout prevention or self-care is the more that we know ourselves, the more that we know our personalities, um, and accept those areas of ourself, like accept those areas of our personalities, um, and play into our strengths, the more we are going to be able to rest, and come into our professions, our professional lives ready, feeling prepared for the day and the week, and ready to be there and show up for our clients. Okay, retreating. This is a great slide. Probably a lot of us think about vacation when we think of retreating. That's usually what I'm thinking of when I'm looking at the long period of time. But there are different moments when maybe we don't have a long period of time and we need a day or a moment. So we're going to look at three different time frames, where we can retreat for maybe a few minutes, a day, or a long period. So a long period of time, this is probably going to look like PTO for a lot of us. So if we have some paid time off, I would really encourage professionals to take that time off if they have it. Um, One thing that I have learned from my supervisor, Autumn Wagner, if you guys have uh, visited any other webinars that we've done, you have probably attended one of Autumn's. She is amazing. I've learned so much from her, but one thing that I've learned is, you know, we have so many students and we love them. We specifically, our clients are high school and middle school students. And, on summer breaks or winter breaks, spring breaks, sometimes I get kind of nervous. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't see them over summer break, because we usually go into those schools to see them. And so me kind of worrying, being like, oh my gosh, are they going to be okay? Um, can they survive? And, Autumn gently reminds me, Morgan, they have survived for years without our help. Obviously, we want to be there to help them. That is our job. that is what we are here for, but also they are resilient and they have survived, and they will continue to survive even a few months for summer break. Or, after high school, if they go to college or if they go to trade school or if they get a job. Um, and I think that reminder for us that our clients will be okay. They have survived many days without us before in the past. If we can remember that, I think that can help us when we go off on vacations, when we go off on a retreat, a long period of time to spend away, to really focus on resting ourselves, giving ourselves time to step back. Um, yeah, just allowing yourself to do so. Now, I realize that a lot of us may not have PTO, or maybe we we just have a lot going on to where we really can't take that time off right now. That's completely understandable. So maybe some of us might only have a day to take off. Many of us might also just have a day because maybe we have kids, maybe we have family, just people that we have to take care of, or maybe pets that we have to take care of and stay near to them in proximity. And so if we only have a day to ourselves, maybe try to get childcare if you're a parent. If you're a caregiver, maybe try to see if there's anyone else who knows uh, the person that you are taking care of, if anyone else knows their routine. Um, like if you have an elderly parent, if that elderly parent feels comfortable with any other person, maybe a sibling or a close friend, maybe ask a close friend or a sibling if they can check in on that parent for today so that you can have that day for yourself. Um, and again, this kind of goes back to a little bit of what we've already been talking about, but doing something that you enjoy. Don't make yourself clean if that's not going to be helpful for you. Um, Maybe don't even force yourself to go outside if you don't want to. If you want to stay inside and take a nap and watch a movie and read a book, then do that for yourself. And going even smaller, maybe some of us don't even have a day right now. I also completely understand that. Life is chaotic. It is beautiful, but it is chaotic. And so for many of us, we probably only have a moment, many days. So, how can we make those moments meaningful for us? And how can we have rest during them? Be present in the moment. Let's have an example of like 5 minutes. Maybe you are a mom or dad of kids, and maybe the few minutes that you have is going into the bathroom by yourself. And that's like your 5 minutes, that's your moment. Um, even while you're in the bathroom, maybe just take a few deep breaths while you're in there. Maybe you can even have some notes of gratitude on your mirror. Maybe you can have notes of affirmations on your mirror. Wherever you are, maybe you could put affirmations in your child's playroom, or maybe in your car. Maybe for a lot of us who might be traveling to see clients, maybe your car is the only time where you have to yourself or that it's quiet. Use those moments in your car. Use those moments where you only have a minute or 5 minutes. Take some deep breaths. Remind yourself of the affirmations and the gratitude that you have for life, for yourself, for your clients, your family, your support systems around you. And really maybe just remind yourself, just take things today. We don't have to worry about tomorrow. We don't have to worry about next week. We just have to worry about today, right now, and focus on today. Even just taking it minute by minute, not even taking it day by day, but take it minute by minute and remind yourself of that in those moments. Reevaluating or unloading. So, this one is super important. I think a lot of these are more of they can be a mindset shift, but also it can be actions as well. So reevaluating or unloading, is there anything that we can do differently in our lives? Saying no is the first bullet point for us. Um, this might be really difficult for a lot of us. We might find it very difficult to ask for help, um, to say no. It might feel like outside of our nature to say no to people because we're so used to being the helper. Probably in a lot of our jobs, we are the helper. But um, to truly take care of ourselves, we need boundaries. Every healthy person has healthy boundaries. And so if we can start creating those healthy boundaries for ourselves, I think that is a huge part of preventing burnout, or intervening if you feel like you're starting to struggle with burnout. Say no. It's okay to say no. Uh, it is not offensive to say no. Like you are not doing anything wrong by saying no. Um, and also, it kind of goes along with receiving help from others. So the next bullet point, that's right below it. If someone asks you if you need help, say yes. I am just as guilty of this. So I am preaching to the choir to all of us. Um, it is hard for me to say no. It is hard to receive help from others because, I am in that role of being helper. But saying yes, it would be such a help to have someone help me carry my things out to my car. Yes, that'd be amazing if you could get the door for me. Um, if your partner asks if they can cook dinner for you, yes, that would be awesome. I'm so tired today. Thank you for asking to do that. Or even if your partner doesn't offer to cook dinner, ask them, hey, I'm exhausted. Today's been a really long day. Can you cook dinner for us tonight? Um, and really reaching out if no one is offering, reaching out and asking people for help, is just as important as receiving help. What responsibilities can you back away from? Again, this kind of is going along with we don't have to say yes to everything, but maybe you need to step back from regularly babysitting somebody else's kid. Maybe you need to say no to house sitting for someone else, for dog sitting for someone else. Maybe, you know, maybe you go to church somewhere and a lot of people are bringing food for some event. Maybe you have to say no to that because it's been a busy week and you don't have the time for that. It is okay to need to back away in many areas of life. Obviously, we don't want to do it all the time, but when we can, when we are overloaded, when we are struggling, when we are stressed, allow people to help you step back from responsibilities. Are you carrying guilt that is not yours to carry? This also, again, kind of goes along with the bottom, or sorry, the one right below it. Are you carrying someone else's trauma that's not yours to carry? Since this is a webinar for helping professionals, this probably happens to us very often where maybe we go home carrying our client's trauma, maybe our client's guilt, maybe we're also carrying our friends or our family's trauma, um, guilt from something that we don't even need to feel guilty for. I think even realizing this can be the first step, realizing, oh, I'm carrying someone's load that is not mine to carry. I am trying to fix someone's marriage that is not my marriage to fix. I am trying to fix this person's work problem when that is not mine to fix. Now, I obviously want to be very sensitive here because what I'm not saying is to stop caring for your friends, your coworkers, your partner, your family. Obviously, We have friends and family and coworkers for a reason. Um, it is amazing to have a support system around you. I'm not saying to stop helping the people around you, yet also at the same time, you are only responsible for your marriage. You are only responsible for your job, and how you treat people around you. We cannot force other people to act a certain way. We can't force actions out of another person. We have to let other people react how they react. We have to let other people take the action steps that they need to, in their own lives. Can we give them advice? Yes. Can we encourage them? Yes. Um, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? So that's kind of where we're coming from with this. Even if you need to write out a list of these are all the things that I'm carrying for everyone else around me, that is not my job to carry. I think sometimes listing it out can be really helpful for us to physically get it out, get it down, and get it out of our head. Um, so that it's not all just staying up here. We have it down on paper or put it on a computer or your phone or something. And then what do you need to let go of emotionally or physically? I think that all of these are really sensitive, and so I want to talk about all of these very in a very gentle manner. And so, that is my hope and my heart for this webinar is just to be gentle with this whole topic. Um, but maybe, there are things that we're holding on to that we need to let go of. Maybe it is that guilt that is not ours. Um, do we need to let go of something with our friends or our partner? Do maybe we feel like we need to let go of bitterness or frustration that may have seemed petty for the moment, but for some of us, maybe things are really big. And so, I don't want to give many specific examples with that last one, because everyone is different. Everyone has a different life, a different job. Um, but I think sometimes it's good to ask ourselves the question, is there anything that I'm holding on to emotionally that would really relieve a burden if I let it go? Is there anything physically that I'm holding on to that if I let it go, I would feel so much more relieved by it? And lastly, so reframing. I leave this one until last, kind of because of what I just said. I want to be very gentle in all of these topics. So reframe is kind of like a mindset shift. Now, I would say go to reframe after you've done all these other steps. If you have tried to rest, if you've tried to retreat, if you've tried to reconsider, rethink, unload, if you've already tried all the other things that we've talked about and it's still difficult and you still feel very stressed and burned out. When people look at us and they're like, oh, just be happy, just be grateful, like that obviously does not work. The other person isn't automatically like, oh, you're right. Like that completely changed my mind. Thank you for saying that. Um, no, right? Like if someone is struggling, like it's not going to help to tell someone, oh, just be happy. Just be thankful. I think where I'm coming from in on this slide of reframing, sometimes it can be helpful for us to just remember that we are in a season, um, and our seasons are going to change. I think that's really important to say. Some of us may be single right now. Some of us may have a partner right now. Some of us may have no kids. Some of us may have multiple kids that are little. Some of us may have kids that are older in high school or maybe out of the house. Maybe some of us are older, getting ready to retire. Maybe some of us are just new to our careers, getting started out. Whatever season you are in, um, you're not gonna be in that season forever, right? And so I think it's important to remember that we are constantly in seasons of life. And so for many of us, remembering that we are just in a season and life will not always be this way can be super helpful. Why it's helpful is because if we are struggling with something that's very stressful, we can remind ourselves, okay, I'm not going to experience this stress for forever. I'm not going to be this overwhelmed for forever. Um, Life is not always going to look this way. And so I think when we can remember that, it can help relieve us. We can remember days where we felt lighter, where we were able to laugh, and did not feel as heavy, as burdened. Um, and the last bullet point, it is, I think it can be a toss up. This, obviously, the last bullet point is something that I want to hold very lightly for some of us, because it probably can be very triggering for a lot of people, um, to just say, remember what you're grateful for. But I think sometimes writing out a list of things that we are grateful for can remind us, okay, I do have some things, like I do have a support system in life. So for me, um, are there things that are very stressful in my life? Yes, 100%. Um, Things that I am grateful for are my husband. I love him. He's amazing. He's a wonderful helper to me. He will cook dinner on the days that I'm so tired. Um, he is just there for me emotionally, and mentally. And um, just we mesh really well together. So that's one thing that I'm grateful for. Another thing has just been the weather. It's springtime right now as I'm recording this. And I love all the flowers, the greenery, and that like brings so much life to me. And so even just remembering, that's only two things. Even remembering those two things though, it helps brighten my view. Are there things that I'm stressed about in life right now? Yes. Um, and sometimes just remembering can help us even just go from maybe like if we're at a five on like, how are you doing? Are you at a one or a 10? Maybe we're at a five. Maybe remembering what we're grateful for can help get us to like a five and a half. And even that little jump, um, it can be helpful for us. So, I don't, my intention is not to be triggering when I say, remember what you're grateful for. Um, in no sense do I want people to think that I think that that's going to take away their burnout. It will not. Hear me say that. Um, Making a gratitude list is not going to uh, is not going to make any of those percentages go down that we saw in the research, right? But it can help remind us of the supports that we have, and maybe of some coping skills that we have in our life. So, just a note, when was the last time that you did these things for yourself and not someone else? We can probably think back to a lot of times where maybe we were really excited for someone that they were going on vacation, or we offered to help someone carry stuff out to their car. We offered um, to go spend time with a friend, whatever. We can probably think of a lot of examples. When was the last time that you did something for yourself? Just think on that for a minute. Okay, a few reminders for us. Are you fulfilled after your rest? I touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but it is very important. If we do not feel rested after our specific time of rest, then we might need to reconsider what we are doing. Maybe you have started to rest uh, through taking naps. That's awesome. That's great. If you're waking from naps, though, maybe stressed out, maybe you need to restructure it a little bit. Maybe you need to cut your nap short by 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and use that last 10 to 15 minutes to clean if you are stressed out by cleaning. Use those last 10 to 15 minutes to throw a load of laundry in the washer. Um, Maybe you can make a list of things that have been helpful for you in the past, of like ways of resting have been helpful for you. Or maybe things that you've done that you're like, don't want to do that again. That was not helpful for me. Um, Next, scheduling rest. We schedule everything else in life that is important to us. We schedule doctor's appointments. We schedule birthday parties. We schedule anniversaries, time to celebrate those. Obviously, we schedule work and everything in between. Resting is just as important as every single one of those things. We need rest to work sustainably. We need rest to be a good partner, to be a good parent. Rest is going to help our mental health, our physical health. And so resting, doing any of all the things that we just talked about, doing any of those things is so important. So schedule rest if you are not a person who does so, whether that is 30 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a whole weekend, whatever you have time for, whatever works best for you. Also, fully engage in your rest. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but if you are distracted in any way while you are trying to rest, you might not feel fully like relieved at the end of that rest. And so I would really encourage whatever rest you have chosen for yourself, that you have scheduled for yourself, fully be there. Do not allow yourself to stress about what you're missing or what you're not cleaning or um, anything in between. Just be sure, try as much as you can to fully be present in whatever way you are deciding to rest. Don't feel guilty, goes along the same lines. Rest is also needed throughout the entire lifespan. This is why, part of me, I like to talk about the general workforce statistics because obviously rest is not just for helping professionals, it's for every single person in life. And so it's not only just for young professionals, it's not for people in the middle of their career or even for people who are retiring. It's for everyone. It's even for kids, right? And so, we need rest every single day of our lives, every single week, every single month. And so I think this can just be a good reminder for us to make it a habit. The more we make it a habit, the more it's going to be um, like very natural for us to do. And so, um, make it a habit, try to do it weekly, daily, throughout the month. And the more that we practice it, the more that it's gonna be normal for us to have it throughout our whole lifespan. Make a list for yourself, make a list of things that are helpful for you or maybe not helpful for you. And then last but not least, I have not talked about this at all, but finding a personal therapist. I think this was the best thing I could have ever done in my life. If you work in the helping professionals field and you do not have a personal therapist for yourself, I would highly encourage you to do so. Why? Is because even if like my profession is social work. Even if I went to an LPC or if I went to a psychologist, they can still very much empathize with my line of work and vice versa. If a school counselor went to um, a licensed independent clinical social worker for therapy, um, we get each other. We're in the same mental health realm, right? So find yourself a personal therapist where you can rant to them. You can uh, spill all of the things that you need to get off of your chest with this person, with your family, your work life, um, friendships with your partnership. Um, I think we spend so much time helping other people. We need someone who can be there for us that is unbiased, that aren't in all of our social circles, who um, is trained to do so and that we can trust in these areas. So that is my last recommendation for us. These are my references. Majority of these, if not all of them, are the statistics in all the studies. So if you guys are interested in looking at research, these articles were really interesting to look at, and were all decently recent. So that is it for today. Thank you all so much for anyone who is watching this. I appreciate any time that people would take to watch a webinar or a recording. I value my time. I know you guys value your time, and I do not take it lightly that you would spend over an hour watching this presentation or just being with me. So thank you so much. If you have any questions at all, or me and my supervisor also do in-person trainings. So if anyone is interested in that, please contact us. If not, my email, you can go to our website and talk to anyone there. So thank you all. Thank you a million times. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, your week, your month, your year. And hopefully we can prevent burnout together. So thank you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.